The next day was the Sabbath. While Jesus' followers were resting, the leading priests and Pharisees went to Pilate. They remembered what Jesus had said, that after 3 days he would rise again. So they asked Pilate to secure the tomb. They didn't want anyone to take his body and claim he had risen. Pilate agreed, so they sealed the stone and placed guards at the tomb. The tomb wasn't just closed, it was officially sealed. A Roman seal equals to legal authority of the empire. Breaking it could mean death penalty. This makes the resurrection claim more intense historically. And the guards, they weren't ordinary men. They were likely Roman soldiers or temple guards. Falling asleep on duty could result in execution. Meanwhile, the women who had followed Jesus prepared spices to honor his body. But because the Sabbath had begun, they had to wait. The spices weren't to preserve the body, but to honor it. Jesus did not embalm like Egyptians. Spices helped reduce odor and show respect. When the Sabbath ended, they went out to buy what they needed. And early the next morning, just as the sun was rising, they made their way to the tomb. On the way, they asked each other, "Who will roll away the stone for us?" Because the stone was very large. The stone wasn't something a few women could move easily. It is estimated to weigh hundreds of kilos, designed to keep animals and grave robbers out. But when they arrived, they saw something unexpected. The stone had already been rolled away. They stepped inside, but Jesus' body was not there. They stood there confused. Then suddenly, 2 men in shining robes appeared beside them. The women were afraid and bowed low. And the man said, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead? He isn't here, he is risen." After hearing that, they were told to go quickly and tell the disciples. The first witnesses were women. In that culture, women's testimony was often not legally valued. This actually strengthens the credibility of the gospel accounts historically, because if it were invented, they likely wouldn't choose women as first witnesses. The women were told to go quickly and tell the disciples that Jesus is not inside the tomb, so they ran from the tomb, afraid but also filled with joy. Mary Magdalene ran ahead and found Peter and the others. She said, "They've taken the Lord's body and we don't know where they've put him." So Peter and another disciple ran to the tomb. They found the linen wrappings lying there, but no body. And slowly, they began to understand. In John 20, the cloth is described as left behind and even folded. This suggests not a rush theft and not grave robbers, because they would not unwrap a body. Mary stayed behind. She stood outside the tomb crying. When she looked inside, she saw 2 angels. They asked her, "Why are you crying?" She said, "They've taken my Lord and I don't know where he is." Then she turned and saw someone standing there, and it was Jesus. But she didn't recognize him. Jesus asked her, "Why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" Thinking Jesus was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you've taken him away, tell me where he is." Then Jesus said her name, Mary, and in that moment she knew. "Teacher," she cried. Then Jesus told her, "Go and tell the others." So Mary went to the disciples and said, "I have seen the Lord." But they did not believe her. At the same time, the guards who had been at the tomb went into the city. They told the leaders everything that had happened. So the leaders gave them money and told them to say the disciples had stolen the body while they were asleep. And that story spread. But the truth was already moving. Tomb was empty. Mary Magdalene went to the disciples. They were grieving. She told them, "I have seen the Lord. He is alive." But to them, it didn't make sense. They didn't believe her. Not long after, it was said that Jesus had appeared to Peter and then to the 12. That same day, 2 of Jesus' followers were walking to a village called Emmaus. This is roughly 11 kilometers. This was a long, quiet walk, which is a perfect time to process grief. As they walked, they talked about everything that had happened, about Jesus, about the cross, about the empty tomb. Then a man joined them on the road. It was actually Jesus, but they did not recognize him. He asked them what they were discussing, so they told him everything about how Jesus had been a prophet, how he was crucified, and how they had hoped he was the one who would rescue Israel. They also told him about the women, how they had gone to the tomb and came back saying he was alive. As they walked, Jesus began explaining scriptures to them, from Moses to the prophets, showing how everything pointed to the Messiah. When they reached the village, they asked him to stay with them, so he did. Since it was getting late, they invited him to stay because in their culture, you did not leave a traveler alone at night. Hospitality was a strong social expectation in Jewish culture. And as they sat down to eat, he took the bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to them. And suddenly, they recognized him. And in that moment, Jesus disappeared. They looked at each other and said, "Didn't our hearts feel something as he was speaking to us?" And right away, they went back to Jerusalem. When they arrived, the others were already saying, "It's true, the Lord has risen. He appeared to Peter." Then they shared their story too. And while they were still talking, Jesus himself stood among them. Jesus himself stood among them. He said, "Peace be with you." Shalom, or peace, was a common greeting in Jewish culture. When they heard that, the disciples were startled, afraid, unsure of what they were seeing. But he showed them his hands and his feet. He told them to look, to touch, to see that it was really him. And to show them even more clearly, he ate food in front of them, which is a clear sign that he was not a spirit. Then Jesus said, "As the Father has sent me, so I am sending you." He told them that everything written about him had been fulfilled, that the Messiah would suffer, die, and rise again on the third day, and that forgiveness of sins would be proclaimed to all nations. He said, "You are witnesses of these things." But unfortunately, one of them wasn't there. Thomas. When the others told him, "We have seen the Lord," he did not believe it. He said he needed to see it for himself. About a week later, they were together again. This time, Thomas was with them, and once again, Jesus stood among them. "Peace be with you," he said. Then he turned to Thomas. He showed him his hands and his side. He told him, "Do not doubt, believe." And Thomas answered, "My Lord and my God." After that, Jesus continued appearing to many others, even to more than 500 people at one time, many of whom were still alive at the time this letter was written, which was found from 1 Corinthians 15, where people could still verify this very claim. What began as confusion slowly became certainty. They had seen him, Jesus, and he is alive. One day, several of them were together near the Sea of Galilee. Simon Peter said, "I'm going fishing." The others decided to go with him, so they got into the boat and fished all night. That's when fishermen usually work. Night fishing was normal practice, but unfortunately they caught nothing. At dawn, a man was standing on the shore. They didn't recognize that it was Jesus, so he called out, "Have you caught any fish?" They answered, "No." He said, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat." So they did, and suddenly they caught so many fish. They couldn't even pull the net in. Then one of them said, "It's the Lord." And soon as Peter heard that, he jumped into the water and swam to the shore. The others followed with the boat, dragging the net full of fish behind them. When they reached the shore, they saw a fire already burning. There was fish and bread. Jesus said, "Bring some of the fish you just caught." Then he told them, "Come and have breakfast." There, he served them. After they had eaten, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Peter said, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." Jesus said again, "Take care of my people." And then he repeated the same question for the third time. Each time, Peter answered the same way, and each time, Jesus told him to care for his people. The 3 questions is important because this is not a random repetition. This is restoration, not interrogation. Jesus asked him 3 times, just like the 3 times Peter had denied him. Jesus then said to Peter, "Follow me." Over time, Jesus continued to appear to them, not just to the disciples, but to many others. At one point, more than 500 people saw him at once. He also appeared to James and to all the apostles. For 40 days, Jesus met with them again and again. He showed them clearly that he was alive, and he spoke to them about the kingdom of God. Then, Jesus gave them a final instruction. He said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go and make disciples of all nations. Teach them to follow what I have taught you. And know this, I am with you always."
Peace be with you.
He told them that those who believe would continue his word, that they would speak, heal, and carry his name wherever they go. And from there, the disciples were sent out. And that's how Christianity started.